What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. We are now on to episode 29 of the Elden Ring All Bosses Walkthrough, and we have officially made it to the DLC. So last episode, we finished the base game, went and became the Lord of Frenzied Flame. We were ready to get into the DLC. Luckily, compared to some of the other DLCs that FromSoft has made, this one's fairly straightforward to get into. You are required to beat Radon and Mohg. Now, Mohg, obviously, you have to beat him because, this is where the entrance of the DLC is. But if you're wondering why Radon is required, well, the DLC will actually explain that. But those are the two required bosses to beat, at which point Leda right here will show up and we can go ahead and get started.
Were you guided here by kindly Miquella? I am Leda. And like you, I was guided by faith along his honorable path. Touch the withered arm, and you too will be transported to the realm of shadow where Miquella the Kind now dwells. My compatriots are there already. Like us, they have heard kindly Miquella's call. If you can find them, they are certain to lend you aid. Come now, touch the withered arm, and travel to the realm of shadow. I will not be far behind. May we meet again.
Alright, let's go ahead and touch Miquella's arm. Alright, so we start by spawning in this little cave. This is actually a spot you can get back to pretty easily from up there. I'll show you how to do that because there's some items up there. Let's walk forward up the stairs and make it to our first area, the Gravesite Plain. And I remember loading up this DLC. I didn't know how big it was going to be, in comparison to Elden Ring. But I can tell you, from the second walking out here, I knew this thing was massive. So it's pretty awesome that they were able to put this together, and it slaps. This DLC is fantastic. All right. Now, first order of business is to go ahead and get our first map right down here. Now, you can see on the top of that, I don't even know what to call it, that archway, I guess, there is a curse blade on top of it. These things freaking suck. They are crazy hard to fight. So we're gonna just, run around it for now because I don't really want to fight one. If you want a challenge and you want to know what to expect out of the DLC enemies, then by all means go for it. That's how my first playthrough started out, was fighting that thing right away, and I just got destroyed over and over by it. Alright, first map acquired. So the Gravesite Plain is pretty big. It covers 2 of the legacy dungeons of the game within it. So it's a big chunk, which is why I wanted to grab it right away. But before we move on with a lot of the area, we're going to first come here to the Scorched Ruins and grab some items. Now, these shadow guys are pretty easy. They're, at this point, you'll be one-shotting all of them. These guys are everywhere throughout the DLC. Alright. Cookbook acquired. Alright, now if you come here with a little bit of parkour, you can actually get right up to here and skip a portion of having to go up here first and then drop down. But there is no other way of getting to the top, which leads to another item from this point. So we're going to drop back down, come over to this side. Went too far. There we go. Ouch, dude. The heck? Hey, you should not. Thank you. Alright, this leads all the way up to this door, which will contain a chest. Get the Blade of Mercy Talisman. I actually don't remember what that one does. Raises attack power after each critical hit. Very cool. Okay. We've got another side of Grace here at the other side of the town that we can grab. You can see down there, there is a new type of elite enemy. It's not a boss. No boss health bar appears, but in a way it kind of is. That is a furnace golem, and they can be really hard to figure out how to defeat on your first playthrough. So I'll do my best to show you kind of what you're supposed to do with them. Alright. Wondering if we try right now or if we come back. Yeah, let's do it right now. We're right here. Why not? Okay, so like I said, these guys kind of suck. I think the best way of handling them is staying on Torrent. Watch out for the kick fire. That thing will hurt, as you can see. But the trick is to hit their feet continually until they drop down. And I suggest doing this from the back, because you'll see that swipe attack that he just did. That can do a lot of damage. He can also he has a grab attack from the front. And each time he stomps, you just kind of want to double jump with Torrent to avoid any of the fire. Okay, so we got one little stagger effect. You have to get that effect 3 times to fully knock him down. Okay, this is a double jump. It's going to explode out, and then you'll want to jump. So a little bit of a delay. You don't want to jump right when he hits the ground. You want to wait for it to come towards you. Nice. Okay, there's number 2. One more will knock him down and give us the opportunity to do a critical hit. You're probably looking at the health bar and you're like, what the heck, we're not even doing any damage. It's because you don't really do any like legit damage until you hit the face. Let's spin some flasks on Healing Torrent real quick. I know, riveting gameplay. I am shocked that we haven't gotten the 3rd stagger yet. There it is. Okay. So it's going to fall down onto its side. Gives you the opportunity to do a critical hit on the face. You'll see it will take a good chunk of damage. And we just got to do it one more time. There is an item you're able to craft a little bit later on that will help you do more damage while it's down, but for now this is kind of what we have to stick with. Nice. Stagger number 2. Doesn't want to stomp, apparently. Uh-oh. Double. Alright, wait, and then jump. Should be close to the final stagger. There it is. One crappy thing about these guys is, depending on like which one you're fighting, they could land on some like uneven ground, and it makes it borderline impossible to get the critical hit, which means you just wasted a bunch of time not doing like any damage to them. Okay, so the furnace columns each drop 2, sorry, not 2, a crystal tier with each defeat, so they're kind of like Erdtree avatars in that way. They also give you a furnace visage. These furnace visages are used to craft the items I was talking about that let you do more damage to them, so those are going to be important later on. Okay, to continue on through the level, we're going to want to go this way eventually, but first we have a bunch of stuff to take care of down this way. So we're going to come over here first. Alright, where is that side of grace? There we go. Let's get our flasks back real quick. And then we're going to head directly west to go fight our first boss of the game. Alright, now be careful. There are these Gravesite birds. You'll see that one just drop down. They're not too bad to deal with by any means, but there are a number of them. Alright, we've now made it to... I actually don't know the actual name of these little worm things. If they are blue, then they're non-aggressive, so you can just walk past them. If you attack them, then they become aggressive. They're basically the jellyfish of the DLC. Okay, we are here at our first mausoleum. There are a number of these throughout the DLC that contain NPC boss fights. So we're going to do our first one here with Knight of the Solitary Jail, who happens to have one of my favorite armor sets of the DLC and weapon. Whoa, thanks PC for lagging. That was cool. Ouch. Ouch. Repeating crossbows. Cool. But I'm mainly interested in his sword. His sword is really cool. Ouch. You jerk. Forgot you have Estus. No. And Oh, come on, dude. There we go. Boom. Alright, so first boss of the DLC completed. And we get a reward, which is his armor set. And weapon, I think. Yep, Great Sword of Solitude. Very cool. His armor set's fairly heavy, if I remember right. Yeah, beefy boy. Let's go. Figure why not? We're in the DLC. Let's use some DLC stuff. Okay. Now, one of the things with that fight, and I should explain for the DLC in general, is you can still level up in the DLC traditionally, you know, by spending runes at a site of grace to level up. But the DLC has a different leveling system associated with it, which comes in the form of Shadow Tree fragments that you are supposed to find throughout the expanse of the DLC. These are things that can be spent at sites of graces to increase your level, specifically for the Land of Shadow. So that will definitely be a key part of what I'll show you throughout the DLC, is where to find them so you can get to the max level and be doing the most damage possible for bosses. So if that guy's kind of kicking your butt at first, oh, the Labyrinth, I mean the Curse Blade aggroed, then yeah, come and grab a few Shadow Tree fragments first to kind of get yourself started. There's also these revered spirit ashes, which are here, these little statues. Those increase the power of your spirit ashes that you summon. So if you're big into summoning and you find a lot of help from those, then if you want them as effective as possible, then yeah, you'll want to grab these wherever they're available. Okay, our first Shadow Tree fragment is going to be just over here. It's not one that's on the ground. It's actually dropped by this guy holding this pot. I want to kill him and get the Shadow Tree fragment. Leave the rest of these guys alone because I don't really care. I don't know how something is still aggroed to me. What the heck? I want to just teleport back here. Okay, so if we rest at the site of grace, you'll see Shadow Rim Blessing, and we can increase our Shadow Tree Blessing and Revered Spirit Ash Blessing. So there we go. You've just leveled up for the first time in the DLC. Okay. Now we're going to move our way along here through the forest. There is going to be an NPC. It's not technically an invasion. It's just an NPC fight that we can do over here. For some reason, I always have a hard time finding him right away. Ah, there he is. Logar the Beast Claw. He has these really long, drawn-out combos, so just gotta be a little patient. Don't be overly aggressive trying to hit him. He does spread bleed with his weapons. There we go. And he drops the Beast Claw weapon, so that's something you can use if you want. Okay. Really only one other important thing to grab down here. We can just follow this main path. Also run into our first Mesmer soldier. He's going to be one of the main basic enemies that you'll find throughout the game, throughout the DLC. I'll come right down to this church. Alright, and here we're going to come across our first Black Knight. Not to be confused with the Black Knights in Dark Souls, but these guys are fairly tough as well. So this is a hammer and shield version. So their hammer has a similar weapon effect to America's hammers, the weapon that Radagon uses in his boss fight. So you'll see it spread. It did that gold on the ground that hurts you. I don't really know how to describe it. But yeah, your reward for killing this one specifically gives you that great hammer. So if you're like, that's cool, I want to try that out, well, there you go. There's your opportunity. Alright, a couple of Mesmer soldiers in here. Just gotta look out for. Maybe just one. And then we get our next Shadow Tree fragment. Okay, over here to the left, you'll see this cave. And if you remember Divine Blessings from the Dark Souls trilogy, there is an item in here just like that. Nope. So see, when those guys do that psyche up thing, they can make the ground erupt, kind of like Horaloo. So when they have that, they obviously have increased poise and attack power too, so they can be a little scary. But here we got America's Blessing, or Blessing of America. So it does the exact same thing as a Divine Blessing from the Dark Souls trilogy. So completely restores HP and heals any status effects you've got. So very good. Okay, there are some more enemies over there in that camp that you can beat, but that is it as far as, fairly important items go over here. Okay, well, let's make our way down the road now. Oh, there is another weapon I wanted to point out first over here to the right. Hello, Inquisitors. The Backhand Blade. Okay, now we're going to come over here to this giant archway that runs through the cliff. There's going to be a site of grace just at this fork in the road. We have a couple of NPCs to meet here. Alright, this is our first Miquella's Cross. When you touch these crosses, it will give you a little lore drop. It says, carved words coalesce. I abandon here the first of the flesh of my body. At each of these crosses, you're going to find a Shadow Tree fragment. So that's one consistent way of finding them. Look at this site of grace. And then we'll talk to these two NPCs here.
Lady Leda spoke of you. You're that tarnished. Guided here by kindly Miquella. Won't we all? I am Freya. I once fought alongside General Radahn. In battle, you can be sure I'll hold my own. Oh, another thing. Did you speak to our dour little friend? If you've yet to do so, Have him give you a map of the cross's whereabouts. You'll find more of them dotted about these lands. They are Mikola the Kind's footprints.
Okay, so we'll now talk to...
Fie, another. Treading the heels of Mikola. Then, as that woman would surely say, we are in our purposes well aligned. But understand, your kind are not forgiven. The Erdtree is my people's enemy. By Marika long betrayed. Set aflame. I believe Mikola's apologies when he says our delivery will come, but never will I see your kind as worthy. And yet my oath I cannot overlook. If Mikola it is whom you would seek, then comrade, allow me to give you this. These are the sites of the crosses I found. I urge you, follow after Mikola. As long as you abide by his footfalls, you will be no enemy to me. I urge you, follow after Mikola. As long as you abide by his footfalls, you...
Yeah, so we can open up that map, and he's just showing us a few of the crosses that he's found. There's a lot more than just those 3, and he'll actually give us an updated map a little bit later on. But in case you want a starting point of where to look for them, then yeah, you can use that map. All right. Through the archway we go. We are going to be coming back there before the end of the episode, before we start our first legacy dungeon in the DLC, which is just right up here. We got 2 more NPCs who are followers of Mikola to speak to up here. Alright, so another Shadow Tree fragment. Touch this cross. I've been in here, a part of the flesh of my body. We'll talk to Ansbach.
You must be the Tarnished. I am Ansbach. Formerly in service to Lord Moog, but now, like you, another soul guided by kindly Mikola. I'm hardly the steady hand I once was. My fighting days are far behind me, which is why I have chosen to dedicate myself to investigation, to discern tender Mikola's ultimate purpose. I'd rather not volunteer service to a new master unless I know that I can be of use. May I request a service of you? 6 crosses identical to this one have been discovered in these lands. They are akin to tender Mikola's footprints, or gravestones, which mark what he's left behind. If you discover any more crosses, be certain to tell me. I presume you, too, are keen to know just what kind Mikola is doing here. If you discover any more crosses...
Hello there. Together, we work. Together, for Mikola the Kind. Many things we have found.
Okay. So, good old Moore here is our first merchant of the area. So, feel free to buy anything that you would want. Always down for more rune arcs. We can talk to him, though.
Like finding things for you, Lady Leda, her allies, and the forager brute. Things bring joy to all. I like for you things.
Cool. So that's what we got. No, yeah, shut up. Okay. At this point, we've picked up quite a few Shadow Tree fragments, so we should be able to level up. I think a couple more times at least. Yep. Okay. So now we're at Shadow Tree Blessing 3. All right. Like I said, our first legacy dungeon of the game is right up there. We're not going to go there quite yet. I'm going to finish the rest of the Gravesite Plains first, which still has quite a lot to do. We'll come over here and come along this cliff face, which will take us to a new area. this side of grace here. Let's go ahead and rest to de-aggro these guys. Okay. Now, in this area, we're introduced to a new enemy, which are these blood fiends. You'll see that there's one right up here with this dog. This one's a GoldenEye version, so let's get some runes out of him. Hello. Alright, over here we got a spirit ash. There it is. Nice. Okay. We'll double back this way, back towards the side of Grace, and come up into this little town here. Actually, first let's skirt around the edge. There's one item for us to pick up over here. Which is another shadow tree fragment dropped by Mr. Potboy here. Alright, now if we drop down to this section and then down into this little ravine here. We'll find one of the first bell bearings of the game, which these are typically hanging from a pot. Yep, right there. Okay. I forgot that we don't have our bow equipped anymore. Let's go ahead and get that on. There is our string seller's bell bearing. I'm not even sure what that... Oh, well, let's just buy string. Woohoo! So, definitely one you could probably skip. Okay, let's come up into this little town here. We've got a unique weapon drop and a talisman that we can pick up in this town. A bunch of blood fiends in here, one of which drops the weapon that I was just talking about. Alright, so a bunch of blood fiends up here. Try to get a weapon art and hit them all at once. What? That didn't kill you? Jeez. Let's do it again. Yeah, these guys can use Moog spells. And here is our Blood Fiend's arm. That thing is pretty crazy. I don't know if it's gotten nerfed since launch, but at launch, that thing, if you level it all up all the way, I believe it does S tier strength scaling, which is insane, and it can do some nutty damage. So feel free to try it out. And then here's our talisman, the Outer God Heirloom, which raises your arcane level. Okay, let's go back to the site of Grace real quick, and then we'll keep heading south. And over here, we're going to come in contact. If you remember more, he was talking to us about the Forager Brood. We're going to come across our first member of that brood, which may be a little shocking to you. Alright. Oh, there's also our first larval tier. There are some blue larval tiers in the DLC. They work the exact same way as a normal one does in the base game. Okay, so here you'll see this pest. He's not an enemy. He is a friend. This is a member of the Forager Brood that Moore was talking to us about. So we can actually talk to him and get a cookbook from him. Nice. Now, be forewarned, if you attack any of these guys, you will get invaded by Moore and he will try to kill you. He'll no longer be a friend. So don't do that. Unless you want to cause chaos. Which, if that's the case, then yeah, by all means, go for it. Okay, now we're in our first lightning ram forest. For some reason, these rams are imbued. You can see they're gold and they're imbued with, like, freaking lightning power. I don't know what that's all about, but yeah. Got another cookbook up here we can grab. The shack. So there are more paintings in the DLC, just like there are in the main game. So if you want to follow the rewards for those, by all means. They aren't anything I'm going to be showing off particularly in the walkthrough. But yeah, go for it. Okay, and then this part is always a little sketchy to do. So you are able to drop down onto this church, just like onto the side, but it is very precarious. If you miss, you are dead. Okay, there's step one. There we go. And now we can safely drop down. Grab our next shadow tree. Oh, never mind. This is the Blessed Blue Dew Talisman. Very nice. Okay, now if we come over here, there's an armor set we can grab. Actually a pretty cool armor set. The Oathseeker Knight set, which is Letta's armor set. So, if you ever wanted to look like her, this gives you the opportunity to do so. Yeah! Very, very cool. Although it doesn't have her cape, which is kind of a bummer. But that's because later on, you're able to get her actual chest piece that has the cape on it. But we're going to stick with the Solitude set for now. Okay, then if we drop down here, this takes us back to the very beginning of the Gravesite Plain. This is where we spawn in when we touch the Withered Arm. And here we are. Okay, let's go back to the fork in the road now. We're going to come to explore this northern section, which has a dungeon and a field boss. So that bridge is going to be reserved for probably 2 episodes from now once we start making our way to the next area. So for now we're going to keep going down this road. Let's go get this side of Grace. Alright, now there is a talisman, revered spirit ash, and a cookbook up here in the abandoned ailing village. Now, if you remember Dark Souls 3, Ashes of Ariandel DLC, remember the giant flies? Well, guess what? They're back in the form of these man flies. They have basically the same moveset. So, yeah, they can kind of suck. Alright, there's the ailment talisman. Now if we drop down here, we'll get the revered spirit ash. And then over on this side, in this house, is the cookbook. Watch out for the manfly in here. Nice. Okay, one more cookbook I want to go grab, and then we'll head into this little shallow lake over here. Just right over here in this shack. Oh, and a couple furnace visages. Very nice. Those things are pretty rare to find, so anytime that we can find one, it is good. Okay, if you look down here, you also see this ravine. This is somewhere that we're able to travel to eventually, but can't as of right now. Alright, let's go to the site of grace. Let's see if we can level up at all. Nope, just our spirit ash. Alright. Wow, it is dark. Okay, we're going to head over here to the west to fight our first field boss. You can see him right there. This is a Ghostflame dragon. There are a few of these throughout the DLC. They work fairly similarly to normal dragons from the base game. However, there are a few distinct differences. Oh, come on. Ouch. Whatever, I rolled that. Alright, watch for the Ghostflame. Ouch. The design of these guys is super cool. The Ghostflame looks awesome, especially at night. I'm kind of glad that we're fighting at night right now. Chomp, chomp. Swipe, swipe. And stomp. Swipe, swipe. Slam. Oh, come on. Oh, watch the explosion. There's the stagger. Knew we were close. Stumpies. Ooh, another stagger. Holy. We got that fast. Boom. And Ghostflame Dragon down. Very nice. Ooh, Somber Ancient Stone. Alright. Now if we come over here, there's yet another cookbook that we can grab. Oh, wait. We're too far north. We want to go west. And it was so dark it was hard to tell where we were at. There's also a unique armor piece that we can grab over here. Now, some of these bird statues are actually statues. Some of them are just like the bird enemies pretending to be a statue. Get the Gravebird armor. So there's a full Gravebird armor set that we can get. So they're all in similar places like that. Okay. Oh, this guy's seriously aggro to us. That's annoying. Where? Wait, maybe I'm thinking wrong. Okay, I think I'm just crazy. Alright, so we did pick up that painting over there. The reward for it's right here. Which is the Serpent Crest Shield. So, in case you did want the reward for it. Alright, now we're going to go to our first dungeon of the DLC. Welcome to Ballarat Jail. All right. Check for this guy. Wow, seriously, he turned the corner? That's not cool. Now, each of the jail dungeons in the DLC are very similar in design. Just kind of like all the caves and tunnels and catacombs have similar designs in the base game. Hello there. There you are. I was like, I know I heard another one. Okay. You can jump through this hole right here and drop down. Got a lore guy here. Oh, please, not the jar, anything but that. I promise I won't ever do it again. I swear, a living saint I'll surely be. Please, you must forgive me, please. That's kind of a foreboding hint as to an enemy type that we're going to be seeing a little bit later on. Specifically in these jails, so the lore behind it is pretty freaking awful. And here we are, right here. Our first look into... I don't even know what these things are called, but they're freaking terrifying. But yeah, essentially the living jars that we've come to know up to this point are basically the creation of punished. I can't remember the actual name for them, but basically these punished creatures who are just forced into these pots and eventually, are stuffed together with all kinds of stuff. It's just another form of torture. It is some dark stuff. All right, so we now need to drop down here. You can see that those two pots there are kind of indicating to go that way. However, we are able to go this way instead. Don't do what I did. I guess we need to jump. We can't just fall off. Anyway, if you go this way, you're able to get to an item that you wouldn't be able to if you went the other way. Just make sure to jump first, apparently. Let's try this again. Okay. Now, instead of going that way, you want to drop onto this pot. And that will let you jump onto this platform here. Oh, hello, mini warrior jar. See, these things are freaky. We get a hefty cracked pot. So that's our second one that we've found so far here. Inventory. Yeah, okay. So these are used to create hefty cracked pot items that are basically just, your ones from the base game, but bigger. So they do more. More of these creepy things. Should really look up what the actual name of these enemies are. They do have one attack that does some stupid damage for some reason. Oh, that was it, but we barely got hit by it, which was lucky. That thing, if you get hit by all the projectiles that they fire, it does some crazy damage. All right. Got another one that's going to pop out here behind this pot. That's still in a pot. You can break. A couple more here. Okay, now as you approach this part, it looks like it was just going to lead you down to where that giant pot is, but oh no, another broken bridge. Okay, this is a freaking labyrinth of pots that you got to go through. I always get a little lost in here because there is a few items. There are a few items that you're able to grab as you're trying to navigate through here, and trying to find all of them always gets me a little lost. No ambush here, it looks like. Okay. Alright, now over here is the way out. So you just go through that tunnel. I do want to try to find whatever items we can before that. This way. Oop. Nope, this leads to nothing. Also leads to nothing. Oh. Okay, now we can grab this item now, which is another hefty cracked pot. There's a cookbook. Ah! Okay, I think that is largely it for the items. Now we just gotta have to find our way back to the exit. Here we go. Alright, so coming out here, we can actually turn left here. And let's see if I can find it. Maybe it's not to the left. Oh yeah, it's over here. Okay. Grab a couple of these items. Watch out for this one. Couple more over here. Yeah, this one's freaking huge. Ouch. Okay. Now we come over here, we'll see this pot that's hanging down. We can drop onto. And it will take us back up. But it goes even further. Taking us all the way up here. Nice. So if you saw this giant pot before and were wondering how to get up to it, that is the way. And this gives you the giant, well, the Great Jar, which is a headpiece that you can put on. So just like the other jar helmet, increases your potency with throwing pot items. This does it even more so, including great jars. So pretty cool. Okay, and then we can make our way back to where we were. Back on over here. And we're safely back down. I haven't even noticed that guy before. We'll leave him alone. Okay, we're now pretty much at the end of the jail. And our boss of this place is a Curse Blade, which I've avoided fighting up until now. But yeah, no avoiding it this time. This one is unique, where it's gonna cause the entire room. Oh, never mind. It's Onzi here. Never mind. Okay. Yeah, we got freaking Yoda. So this guy's nuts. If you thought demi-humans were pushovers, well, let me introduce you to Onzi. Dude, okay. Tiny hitbox. So annoying. Could have sworn this one was the Curse Blade, but shows how long it's been since I played the DLC, I guess. Ouch! Cool. Dude, I'm so sick of whiffing! Oh my goodness! Stop. No. The amount of times that I just end up swinging over his head is driving me nuts. And there we go. Yeah, so he can feel a little chaotic, but you do get the Spirit Ash as a reward, which is super cool. There are like 1 or 2 or more of those guys that you'll find, not as boss versions, but just in the game. So just kind of let them do their thing, finish their combo, and then you can get in and get a few hits. But yeah, so that is it for Ballarat Jail. And I believe that is it for the Gravesite Plain. Like I said, technically over here is part of the Gravesite Plain as well, but there is a full-on, I guess not a full-on, but like a mini dungeon over here that you're able to go to, but I tend to like to do that after this opening portion. So we will, yeah, we'll do that next after next episode. Yeah, so that will be it for this episode. Next time we will go ahead and go into our first legacy dungeon, which is the Ballarat Town Settlement. So yeah, if you learned anything from this episode, if you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe as always, as it helps a ton. But that is it for this time, for this episode, and I will see you next time.